Do you think there are still bubbles in this? Hello and welcome to My Tiny Bottles, the project where I'm exploring my grandmother's legacy of miniature liquor bottles, one tiny bottle at a time. I'm your host, Tammy Coxon, and I am here today with my friend Farah Mendlesohn. And we are at a science fiction convention in Belfast. And I had brought this bottle of Babycham with me because Babycham is this classic British women's drink, basically. One of the first alcohols marketed to women anywhere ever on television, actually, in the 1950s. And I was like, I need a British woman who drank Babycham to taste this Babycham with me. And Farah said, that would be me. So Farah, tell us about your relationship to Babycham, your history.
So the first thing to understand is that back in the 80s, there wasn't anything like as much policing of underage drinking. I'm Jewish, so we drank alcohol from a small child. I grew up in quite a liberal background. I don't remember a time when there wasn't some alcohol available, mostly very bad red wine. But as you grew older, drinking was really strongly gendered.
Right.
So only the feminists would drink a pint.
Yeah.
Some pubs would not serve women a full pint. If a man ordered a half pint, he got a small straight glass. But if a woman ordered a half pint, it was in a curvy glass. Oh, and I became a barmaid in 1986 when I went to university. So knowing your glasses was important and knowing which drinks to offer people who weren't sure. And the added complication is that half my pub was local and half my pub were the local lesbians. So there were things you had to know about the codes. And the three key drinks were Babycham, Snowball, which is basically Advocaat and lemonade,
right,
and a cherry brandy liquor. Okay. But the one I remember being advertised is Babycham.
Yes.
And one of the things that came up yesterday was my friend Alison said, and of course it's Perry. And I didn't realize that because I was in university in York and Perry was sold as Perry. On tap.
So Perry, for our American audiences, it's kind of like cider, but made with pears instead of apples, right? Not something we have a lot of in the US, but...
And it was a very regional drink in Britain. Mm-hmm. I'd never been offered Perry in Birmingham, which is in the Midlands. So I think as well as marketing it to women, which it very obviously was,
right.
It was served in champagne glasses,
yes.
Not the flutes, the dishes.
The coupes, and they were branded,
That's
and they'd
right.
have the little deer on them, and you could collect them every year for Christmas.
But I think it was also about creating a much wider, countrywide market for Babycham, because Perry was absolutely a Yorkshire drink. I'd never encountered it anywhere else.
And I think it's interesting you say it wasn't advertised as a Perry. So the earliest advertisements for it describe it as a champagne Perry, in terms of the style that it was made. But then as it becomes this national brand, they just start calling it Babycham.
Correct.
And probably that would also play into people, if they didn't know what Perry was, or they had maybe a bad regional association with Perry, they could drink Babycham.
Yes.
And Babycham really was the drink for women, right?
It absolutely. I only knew one man who ever drank Babycham, and he was my gay friend Paul. And so it was quite popular in the gay clubs,
sure.
But it tended to be popular amongst the gay men who were experimenting with the more flamboyant sides of their lives.
Right. And yeah, and it's really interesting. This is really one of the first products, maybe the first, that was marketed directly to women.
Absolutely.
And there was old school online called Television advertisement for Babycham, which was, the first alcohol advertised of any kind, alcoholic advertisement in the UK was for Babycham.
My memory is that although younger women drank it because it was a giggly thing to drink, by the time I was drinking it in the 80s, it was more slightly middle-aged women.
That makes sense to me.
But it was a replacement for sherry, which was terribly respectable and at the same time associated with alcoholism.
Oh.
So the 6 o'clock sherry drinker was the woman alcoholic. What Babycham was a public drink.
Yeah.
You drank sherry in private at 6. You would never have drunk Babycham at home.
Right. Interesting. Okay. Well, it has a little, one of those caps. So I should let you do this as the former barmaid.
One more thing is, I'd have sworn it had a little cork. So that might have been a change in marketing later.
Right. It might have at some time. I'm not sure. Probably my guess was purchased in Canada. My father tells me he and my mother split a bottle of Babycham the night my sister was born, not me. My sister in 1969. They split a bottle to celebrate her birth. So it was available at least some of the time. There we go.
Now do tip the glass because you don't want to lose the bubbles.
Do you think there are still bubbles in this?
Yes, I do.
40 years later.
Why not?
No bubbles.
No bubbles. Not a bubble in sight.
Not a bubble in sight. And that is probably not what color it was back in the day.
It was a very light gold, whereas now it's coming out looking exactly like sherry, which is fascinating. So what we have here...
It tastes like sherry.
Cheers.
All right. Oh man. So first we'll smell.
It's kind of dead, but you can get a little of the slightly sherry flavour.
Right, but it wouldn't have had that in the past, right?
That's not my memory. My memory is it very much smelled of acetone. So there's a candy in the UK. It's not really around much now. It's kind of a replica candy called Pear Drops.
Okay.
And they smell of acetone. And what this ought to taste more like, if you're in Sweden, is the Swedish perry.
Okay.
Sold in cans.
Okay. It smells off. People often say to me, like, aren't those things horrible? Like, how could they? So she's already tasted. It's definitely got this really kind of like off smell.
It's not undrinkable.
All right, good. I'm not there yet. I'm trying to describe the smell.
It smells almost like toffee.
Yes, right. It definitely has this kind of sugary...
It's as if it's caramelized.
Mm-hmm. And we've seen that with other fruit liqueurs and things before. All right, you've dove in. I'm going to dive into.
And the initial taste isn't bad. It's what happens afterward.
Yeah. I would say even the initial taste is not good. And this is only 4.2% alcohol when it was in its prime. This is not something that is intended to be stored for 40 years.
I'm finding this interesting though.
It is interesting. It's definitely, your claim of toffee made a lot of sense. It really does have that kind of a toffee flavor, very like a caramelized sugar situation going on, which is definitely happening like from, oxidation, and just, this seems to happen with sugary things. They all approach sherry, which is kind of interesting. But it has this distinct kind of off note. I was a little worried it might be vinegary, right? When I think about what could go wrong to something in a bottle, it has not turned to vinegar. Taste-wise, I'm going to say this has like a hint of toffee that could be pleasant if it wasn't for the sort of vaguely vomit flavor that's also going on here.
I don't know I'd go that far, but it tastes dirty. It tastes like somebody swept dust into it.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing I remember about this was along with the Snowball, the Advocaat, this was a Christmas drink. So people didn't just buy it in bottles of one or two if they went into the off license. This was one of the few things it was okay to buy a small crate of.
Right. And they would come in 4-packs. So they were, the size you could buy was a 4-pack. And yes, and those little branded Christmas glasses that they would come out every year and were collectible.
Women who didn't normally drink would drink something like this. So my grandmother who...
They wouldn't drink something like this, but they would drink something like this was.
But my grandmother, who would otherwise only drink kosher wine, would have a Babycham. So that it was very much about giving women permission to drink in an environment where drinking was both masculine, it was lower class.
Yes.
Polite women didn't drink in public.
Not in public, certainly.
So in that sense, it really was quite a radical breakthrough.
Yes.
But I just really remember that it was very much part of a wider cultural shift.
Yes.
And partially recognising that women had more income of their own. Marriage ages were going up. The number of women at university was going up. Women had money to spend and wanted a little tipple.
Yeah. And it is really part of that story of women and alcohol. And I sort of learned about Babycham from a book called Girly Drinks by Mallory O'Meara.
Right.
And who I think you are acquainted with, because she's also written in the science fiction
book
space. And so I'll put a link to that in the show notes. Farah, is there a place people can find you online if they want to know more about you?
You can find me on Blue Sky at EFFJAYEM or FJM.
I'll put a link in that too, so you don't need to.
Oh, and my
puzzle
stuff's
that
all
out.
my books are all on Amazon.
All right. And you can find me at mytinybottles.com. You can find me online at mytinybottles on Instagram and Facebook, and Tammy LC on Blue Sky. Thank you, Farah, so much for coming. I would say we should toast, but I am not putting that in my mouth again.
No.
But if you want to learn more, hit the website. Please, if you have a Babycham story to share, drop it in a comment, leave a like, leave a follow, leave a share, do all those things that make the internet work. And cheers.
Cheers.